Good evening. Buenas tardes. I'm here to tell you that there's an electric car in your future. Now, I'm not going to be snarky and say whether you like it or not, but it's coming. Now, nobody's going to come take away your prized Corvette or your guns, but after about 2040 or so, you're not going to be able to buy a new diesel or gasoline car. Now, electric cars aren't new. Electric cars and all the other forms of non-horse transportation go back to the 1880s. We had another kind of pollution early on, even before there were automobiles, and that was the emissions from horses and oxen. So can you imagine living in this? So obviously, people liked automobiles a lot better. But early in this process, in the 1800s, a lot of folks recognized that electric cars were better than gasoline cars for a lot of reasons. They were quiet, they didn't emit stuff that smelled terrible and got you all dirty riding in them, but we went the way of gasoline instead. And for many decades, there was no incentive to save gas to make cars efficient, and nobody worried about the emissions. Nobody worried about anything until about 1973 when we had the oil embargo. So, why am I talking about this? Because in terms of climate change, most of the greenhouse gases come from transportation. You can see in this slide. And most of the transportation greenhouse gas emissions come from light-duty vehicles, meaning the cars that we drive. So, why don't we start now, not wait till 2040, and take advantage of the benefits of electric cars? They're really fun, I can tell you that. Really fun to drive. It's also fun to breeze right by the gas station. But the operational cost is so much less than a gas car, and I'll get back to that in a minute. There are several types of EVs. There are hybrids. The two on the left of this slide are hybrids, which means it's a gasoline car. A plug-in hybrid has a tiny little battery that'll take you maybe 40 miles, if that. So I don't recommend those anymore. I recommend a pure electric. And some of the pure electric cars can also go both ways. They can not only take in electricity to operate, but also put it back in your car or your tools. There are several ways to charge the car, slow, medium, and fast. I charge my Chevy Bolt at home. I just plug it into the wall. I basically use it like you would a cell phone. You top it off any chance you get. I have it plugged in at Maryland Hall outside here right now. This is the most important thing that I can turn your attention to, this chart. So I'd be happy to give anybody one of these. It has the whole range of all the cars that are being built right now, how far they go, all that. So if you're not charging at home, where do you charge somewhere else? Well, there's lots of places. There are about 1,200 charging stations in Maryland alone, where we have 54,000 plug-in cars on the road right now. And the charging is across the country. There is no problem taking a trip across town, across the entire country in an electric car. You have to plan a little bit, and you have to use these services that are all over the country. And it's kind of like having a Starbucks card. There are many, many resources that can give you the information that you need, including some of these that you see on the screen. The state of Maryland is really pushing for 300,000 electric cars on the road in a very short time. And these are the kinds of questions that we can answer. By we, I mean the electric driving community. We are fanatics about these cars. We are always talking about them. We're talking to people in parking lots, all kinds of things to answer these questions. So if you're thinking about this, you have to do your research. You have to learn about EVs. You have to figure out where it is that you go on a everyday basis. Are there charging stations there? And what the things that you need to know when you walk into a dealership or shop online. So summing up, nobody's going to take your beloved Corvette, but EVs are here. There are so many different models now, and there are so many people like me that want to talk about it and answer your questions. If you want to do it online, we have a program called Ask an EV Owner. It's a Zoom call once a month where you can just zoom in, ask your questions, zoom out again. And people answering your questions will be people like me and people who know a lot more than I do about any kind of question you have about EVs. So do your research, go for a test drive, talk to owners. And where do you talk to owners? You talk to owners at EV events, like the one that we're doing October 1st at Annapolis Town Center. So from 10 to 2, we're going to have about 60 cars, trucks. Yes, we'll have the F-150 Lightning, the Rivian. electric motorcycles, electric bicycles, scooters, you name it. And you can talk to, yes, you can talk to the dealers, which is wonderful because they're informed, but talk to us, talk to the owners, the people who will talk your ear off about the real experience of driving an EV. And why? Yes, it saves you money because there's no maintenance in an EV. You don't do anything except rotate the tires and change the windshield wiper fluid. You know, there's no tune-up, nothing like that. But the enthusiasm that the owners have is worth so much to the manufacturers that make these cars. So come talk to us, we'll tell you all about it, and we'll tell you why there's an EV in your future, whether you like it or not.